Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance to him and all members of Sri Parampara in cyclic succession. So, okay, I want to try to move this window. All right, anyway, I can still read it. So I looked up Christmas cheer, and I thought maybe I can do something with the Christmas spirit. And so there's a definition of it. There's different elements to it. And so I thought I'd go through those and show how Krishna consciousness is always spreading Christmas cheer, not just on Christmas, but every day of the year. So we'll go through some of the elements I found in this entry. The first one is giving. And so we're going to, let's see. Okay. So I was thinking this whole movement is built on giving. Not only giving, material gifts to each other, which is after all just keeping us bound in the material world, but giving the most valuable treasure that can be given, beginning with Lord Chaitanya. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayati Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tujaya Namaha. I offer my obeisance to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the most magnificent avatar of Krishna, because he's freely giving the greatest treasure, pure prema, or love for God. And the problem with giving material gifts is that it just spreads the attachment of people for the attachment to things in the material world. I remember when I was a child growing up, we were a Jewish family, so we didn't have a Christmas tree or anything, but my friends did. And every morning, Christmas morning, I would say, okay, great, let me go over to my friend and I can play with all those toys. And so that was my Christmas morning. And it really is a shame because the mood of giving to others is really central to the real life and devotional life. We see with Srila Prabhupada how he took the order of his own spiritual master to heart, and he made great sacrifices to follow Lord Chaitanya's prediction and to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. The greatest possible gift that can be given is knowledge, by which we understand who we really are and who God is, what this world is, and how we can reawaken our pure Krishna consciousness so that we can return back to Godhead and attain the eternal life of bliss and knowledge. So giving is something that's central. The devotee sacrifices his own material interests for the spiritual benefit of everyone else. And then there's another element of this is hope. Well, what is hope? What came to mind is a verse from the 16th chapter, describing the gross materialist. Asha pasha shata badha. The word asha means hope. So material hopes are like ropes, hundreds of thousands of ropes that bind the conditioned soul to this material world. And those hopes are always dashed. Like materialists are bound by an entangling network of hundreds of thousands of hopes, which will never be fulfilled. There is no hope for permanent happiness and security in the material world. And Prahlad Maharaj, when he's speaking to his father, fearlessly, first he says, Matyuna Krishna Padataksvatova, my dear father, because you're taking a vow to try to enjoy in the material world, materialistic household life, and your senses are out of control, you can never become Krishna conscious. You can never place your mind on Krishna. And you, along with all others who are in that mentality, that conditioned mentality, are simply trying to chew that which has already been chewed. Punak punas charvita charvananam. There is no hope for permanent happiness and security in the material world. So Prabhupada would sort of hope against hope. Natevadu swartikatimi vishnam durashaya ye baharartamanina. As long as one's context of trying to succeed in this world and enjoy is within the material realm, then all of one's hopes are going to be dashed. As Shama Evi Kevalam, it's simply a lot of hard work for nothing. And this famous verse, Prabhupada would say, people don't know that their real goal of life is reawakening their loving relationship with Vishnu. And so all of their aspirations are within the material realm, and all of their hopes will be dashed. So the devotees embody hope because they're living a life that is leading to a permanent solution to all the suffering and reinstatement in their eternal life of bliss and knowledge and service to Krishna, our God. Anyone who is receptive to the Hare Krishna mantra, the knowledge of the Shastras, and association with devotees will imbibe that genuine hope. And anyone who comes to Krishna consciousness, many of you maybe have been raised in Krishna consciousness, but from a life of materialism, will always attest that my life had no meaning before I met the devotees and took up the chanting of the holy name. So every day, those of us who are working to become Krishna conscious and spread Krishna consciousness are giving real hope to the people. Living entities, human beings who are thrashing around in the material world without any hope. And then there's this good cheer. So good cheer, I looked it up. What does it really mean? Most people who observe Christmas include sharing intoxicating beverage in this category, generally over a meal featuring various kinds of meat. The general idea is to make merry with friends and family by drinking alcohol and eating meat. So devotees make merry by singing God's name together, dancing, and then honoring sanctified food of prasadam. And we do this every day, and we invite all to join in. So Srila Prabhupada began his preaching in the West simply by inviting people to come and join him in this singing of Hare Krishna mantra. We know the famous images of him going into the park in the Lower East Side and simply beating on the drum and chanting and people gathering. And this is really wholesome making merry. This whole movement is about making merry. What's going on in the spiritual world? Just a lot of good cheer. And the idea in good cheer is that you're helping others to become happy. The basic kernel is correct. But if you don't know how to do that, you're simply entangling people more, helping everyone to stay entangled in sinful activity, and which leads to great suffering. So the wholesome process of being joyful and giving that joy to others is embodied perfectly in the Sankirtan movement. And this takes place every day, not just on Christmas Day. And now I didn't complete my notes since I thought I had some extra time here. But the next element of the definition of the Christmas spirit is love. And what could be more appropriate for a movement engaged and whose central feature is reawakening our natural love for Krishna or God. So love in the material world is really nothing but varieties of lust. And Krishna's Kaviraj gives a wonderful verse in his 4th chapter of Adi Leela. I'm sure you know this one, Prema Sindhu.
Atmendra Prithivant.
Yes, Atmendra Prithivant, Tare Prem Kam, Tare name Kam, Krishna Dute Priti Icha, Dare Prem Nam. That desire to satisfy one's own senses, and it could be very subtle senses as well, but it's centered on oneself, is known as kama, various varieties of kama, even up to the desire of my liberation from birth and death without worrying about anyone else. We know again, Prahlad Maharaj in his famous prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, he says, for the most part, these transcendentalists are simply out for their own liberation. He calls it Swava Mukti Kama. Swava Mukti Kama, this lust, desire, personal desire for one's own liberation. So there's no love there at all. But he says, but as for me, I'm not going to abandon them and go off to the Himalayas somewhere just for my own liberation. I'm going to try to give them Krishna consciousness. I don't see anyone else but you, my Lord, who can save them. So I have to give them you. That's real love. And this is also how one can see everyone as one's relation, as one's dear friend and brother or sister, and make the effort to give them what we ourselves are experiencing, which is the progressive presence of Krishna in our lives and the loving reciprocation from Krishna. So that real love is love for God, and everything else is a perverted reflection. As I wrote this one poem about Radha and Krishna swinging on, during the Julan Yatra. So he says, we're blooming flowers, you have to visualize one of the paintings of them, swinging picture. Where blooming flowers spread their sweet perfumes, where clear Yamuna flows and songbirds sing. While all the land a lovely light illumes, Shri Radha and Shri Krishna gently swing. This idol of their love in Braja's bowers forever charms their dearest devotees, whose heart Shri Krishna's sweetness overpowers, obscuring his prodigious potencies. Whatever in this world we know as love is just a shadow of the love they feel. The wise aspire to learn the secrets of devotion's path and taste that love ideal. So this is all, Krishna consciousness is all about love. This is bhakti, prema bhakti, and we're dedicated to tasting it and spreading it. The next element of Krishna's spirit, according to this definition, was understanding. Understanding, that's kind of a vague term. Understanding what? So the only human life is meant for understanding Brahman, Tato Brahma Jigyasa. If we're not inquiring into the absolute truth, who am I? How did this world come about? Is there a God? If there is a God, what is his relationship to me and to all of these questions? Until we are at least curious about them, we're not really human beings. So Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada's books that he gave us, the cream, the essence of the Vedic teachings, the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitam, and the Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction. All of these books and all the commentaries, the Prabhupada is based on the commentaries of the Acharyas, is giving us a thorough understanding of the most essential knowledge that we need to know. And again, as I mentioned, who we are and what is this world. And as Sanatana Goswami said, why am I suffering? How can I mitigate my suffering and regain my real life? So that understanding, we're learning and studying every day. We're contemplating it, deepening our own understanding, and giving whoever will hear a chance to also get this understanding. This was the greatest gift that we can possibly give, is a chance for people who are wandering, completely lost due to ignorance, the truth about matter, spirit, and the controller of both. So that understanding, otherwise the understanding of material knowledge will not help us. It simply deepen our entanglement in the material world. Then the question of helping, well, that's an easy one. We're all about helping. It's not just a question of, no, sorry, yeah, well, maybe I can kill it. Yeah, good. All right. So helping, paradukkha dukkhi. A real devotee is feeling the suffering of others, even though he himself, as again Prahlad Maharaj says, what is that? Naibod vijay padaduratya vaitaran nistadvi yagayana mahamata magna chitta. My dear Lord, I am not at all disturbed by anything. And he proved it by tolerating his father's tortures without moving an inch from his position of meditating on the Lord, being completely transcendental. So nothing could agitate him, nothing could disturb him, because anytime I want, I can chant your glories and immerse myself in an ocean of nectar. But I am lamenting. These fools who have turned away from you and are trying to enjoy this flickering material happiness, I am feeling their suffering, and therefore I'm lamenting for them. And so I have to work to try to give them a knowledge of you and give them you. That's the helping. So this whole movement is centered on that. And that, as we know from the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord Krishna says, for those who teach this message to the people, to the devotees, and everyone's a potential devotee, there's no one more dear to me than them. And so by taking part in the Sankirtan movement and trying to spread Krishna consciousness, we also become dear to Krishna, which is, after all, our ultimate goal. So it goes together. I always like to refer back to Lord Chaitanya's example of having a twofold reason for, Krishna had a twofold reason for appearing as Lord Chaitanya. One is his internal reason. What is that? Oh God! In order to taste the glory of Srimati Radharani's love and my own qualities through the lens of her love, and the pleasure she's enjoying by experiencing that love. How does that verse begin, Prema?
Radha Krishna Pranaya.
What is it?
Shri Radha Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vaneva Swadyo Yena Adbhuta. Kidrisho.
Yeah. Thank you. So anyway, that's Lord Chaitanya's example, that Krishna appeared in order to experience himself from Radharani's point of view, through the lens of her love, if you will. This was his internal reason. But the external reason was to spread the Sankirtan movement, was to save as many people as possible by, living entities as possible by introducing this wonderful process of Harinam Sankirtan and basing everything on the Srimad Bhagavatam, the natural commentary and Vedanta Sutra. And so he did both, and we're meant to follow in his footsteps. We have our own ardent desire to advance, we should have in Krishna consciousness, and at the same time, along with that, an ardent desire to follow in the footsteps of our great acharyas and give this knowledge to others and give the chanting to others, prasadam, and spread the help people to wake up from this illusion of somehow this is that they can enjoy in this world. And finally, goodwill towards men, not just men, all living entities. And not just human beings either, but every living being, to have goodwill. Otherwise, if you just think it's men, or just think it's human beings, then you'll ignore all the animals, all of those poor cows who are dying, and other animals. So this is goodwill, means exactly that, being empathetic, paradukha dukhi, and trying to relieve the misery of as many living beings as possible by giving them Krishna. Even the animals, we go by some cat or dog, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. See if you can give them some prasad, what to speak of never eating them, trying to protect them and spread knowledge by which people can give up their entanglement in the material world and start to be empathetic and feeling toward all living beings. This is really the Christmas spirit, but it's something that's central, what they call the Christmas spirit. But all of these elements are there and more in Krishna consciousness. So, and also I wanted to maybe share with you the basis for all this is Lord Jesus Christ's great commandment, which is love thy God with all thy heart and all thy strength and all thy mind, and love thy neighbor as thyself. This is when he was asked for his central teaching, this is what he gave. So what could be more right up our alley? Love the God with all thy mind. But the question is how to do that. Unless you have an accurate understanding of who God is, what he looks like, what are his qualities, what are his activities, how do you develop attraction or love for anybody unless you know the qualities and the activities of that person? And so that's what Krishna consciousness gives. And you'll find so many serious Christians, especially Catholics, who joined this movement because they were frustrated in their own religion because there was no details, there was no form and name and qualities and activities of the God they were worshiping. So they found that in Krishna consciousness. So that's where all of this, that was Jesus' central teaching, and but of course he couldn't give those details in where he was preaching. So, but the central spirit is there in all. And Srila Prabhupada highly respected Jesus Christ, sacrificing his life for spreading God consciousness and doing what he could at the time. So this is a day where we can remember all these elements of our own process and our own dharma, and try to be to be good Christians by following all these principles and spreading the actual Christmas spirit, the real goodwill and understanding, love of God and love of all of our fellow man, by helping them to reawaken their natural love for God. This is the only hope, and this is what we want to give. So this is how Christmas, Krishna consciousness is embodying the Christmas spirit every day of the year. All right, what should I do now? Should we be any questions, comments? I can share some poems with you, verses, whatever. Sorry, we kind of had a rough beginning, but this is what I was originally going to talk about.
Thank you, Prabhu. So the devotees, in my opinion, Prabhu, so since you can do a few more poems if you can sing, after that you can open up the questions.
Yeah. Okay.
If that's okay with you.
It's fine with me. I'm just wondering, since it's kind of, if you would allow me to, since I'm sharing the screen here, maybe I can. Okay. Here's the. Sorry about this. There we go. Okay, so here's a nice one. Maybe I can. I wrote this back in '97 for Prabhupada's disappearance day. I was in Vrindavan. I was able to deliver it there. And it's a meditation on Prabhupada. And it's based on Gurvashtaka. Each verse kind of relates to that. Trapped within samsara's all-devouring blazing fire, we had no hope for rescue till your guru's strong desire inspired and empowered you to boldly cross the sea and teach the truths of bhakti so some souls would be set free. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. Patiently you taught us how to chant the holy name and how to dance and how to sing and what was life's true aim. And thus you gave us Lord Chaitanya's teachings unalloyed and saved us from the all-devouring Mayavadi void. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. When Krishna Bhakti spread and you had centers here and there, you introduced the worship of the deities so fair. And soon throughout the world their lordship smiled upon your crew and nourished strong devotion to themselves and unto you. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. Sadhana was your special weapon. No one could resist. Once the Sunday feast had started, no one could desist. Halva, sweet rice, crisp pakoras, sabjis, puris, rice. With these and other preps, you did our tongues and hearts entice. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. The books you shower down upon the masses and on us, toward scripture's sacred essence, bhakti pure and nectarous. And while you wrote, you relished Sri Radha Krishna's name and form and pastimes, qualities, and everlasting fame. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. While managing your ISKCON with the whole world as your stage, meeting, preaching, traveling like a person half your age, you served their lordship Sri Radha Krishna in your heart, arranging for their pastimes in Vrindavan's secret part. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. The Guru is as good as God, you said, and some were shocked, but you had simply quoted scripture. You did not concoct. And sure enough, for those who worship you as they would God, The path of bhakti opens wide and joyfully is trod. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. If you bestow your mercy, then Sri Krishna gives his too. But if your mercy is lacking, then there's nothing we can do. So every day we should reflect upon your life sublime and vow to serve you always with our body, words, and mind. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. I pray that my small hymn, though lacking literary worth, presented to remind us of your pastimes on this earth, may find some favor both with you and with your devotees who hover around your lovely lotus feet like maddened bees. O Prabhupada, I pray that you bestow your mercy now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. So, now what? More?
No, we can't see your screen. I don't know if it's...
Oh, you couldn't see it?
I can't see that.
I'm sorry. New share.
Yeah, it's like a black box.
Oh,
so maybe something else was, maybe the thing you were trying to share was, oh yes, now we see it.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not so expert with this thing. Well, now you see Nandananashtaka. This is from the Govinda Lilamrita. It's the Shuka's song to Krishna. Maybe I should put the music on. Let's see. Ambudanjanendra Nili Nandi Kanti Dambara Kunkamodya Darka Vinjudam Shubhivya Dambara Shimarangi Chartitendu Pita Nakta Chandana Swangvidasya Dostu Me Saballa Vendra Nandana. His dark complexion marks mascara, sapphires, and a blackish cloud. His garments shine like reddish rising sun, with lightning bolts endowed, with sandal paste enhanced with camphor. Are his handsome limbs replete, may Nanda Son bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. Okay. So what should I do? Keep going?
Yes.
All right. I also have one Radharani. Hey Ganda Tanda Bhati Panditanda Deshu Kundalas Chandra Padma Shanda Gava Kanda Nasya Mandala Ballavisha Vaditatma Gudam Bhava Bandhana Swangvidasya Dostu Me Samballa Vendra Nandana. Upon his cheeks his shark-shaped earrings dance with quintessential grace. The pride of countless moons and lotus blooms. Sorry, that's my phone. Okay. Upon his cheeks his sharp-shaped earrings dance with quintessential grace. The pride of countless moons and lotus blooms is shattered by his face. The gopis bind his heart with hidden love that's perfect and complete. May Radhika, may Nanda Son bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. Nityanama Rupa Veshahari Keli Chestitam Keli Nama Shama Dahi Mitra Vrinda Veshtita Sriya Keli Kananangshu Nirjitendra Nandana Swangvidastis Dostu Me Samballa Vendra Nandana. His loving pastimes, youthful form, and gorgeous dress are always new. His cowherd friends delight him with their playful tricks and joking too. His splendid pleasure grows, make Indra's Nandana accept defeat. May Nanda Son bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. Prema hema manditatma bandita binandita Chauni lagna bala loka pala pali bandita Nityakara srishta vipra gora vali vandana Swangri dasi dostu me sambala vendra nandana. Their hearts aglow with golden frame, his friends and Hare Krishna. Oh, okay, that's a good warning. Yeah, okay, sorry about that. Their hearts aglow with golden prem, its friends and kin expand his joy. The universal rulers bow their heads before that cowherd boy. He daily honors learned, truthful Brahmins, free of all conceit. May Nanda's son bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. Lili and the Kali Oshna Kamsa Vatsa Gatakas Tattaratma Keli Vrishti Pushti Bhakta Chataka Virya Shila Lili Atma Gosha Vasi Nandana Swangri Dasya Dostu Mesa Ballavenda Nandana. King Indra's wrath and Kaliya's and Kamsa's life and Vatsa's too he crushed with these, thus raining down heroic pastimes ever new. Like Chatakas, his devotees are nourished by that torrent sweet. May Nanda's son bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. Kundarasa Keli Siddharadikadi Toshanas Tattaratma Keli Nama Tattarali Poshana Prema Shila Keli Kirti Vishvachittanandana Swangri Dasi Dostu Mesa Ballavenda Nandana. His rasa dance in sylvan groves delights Shri Radha and her friends, who drink the nectar of his clever joking play, which never ends. The glory of his loving sports fills all the worlds with joy complete. May Nanda's son bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. Rasa Keli Darshitatma Shuddha Bhakti Satpata Sviya Chitra Rupa Vesha Manmatali Manmata Gopikasu Netra Kona Bhava Vrinda Gandana Swangri Dasu Dostu Me Sambala Venda Nandana. His rasa dance displays intense devotion of the purest kind. His charming, wondrous form and dress enchant enchanting Cupid's mind. His glances at the gopis hint at ecstasy supremely sweet. May Nanda's son bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. Pushpa chahi radhika bimarshalam ditarshita prema vamya ramya radhika sadrishti harshita radhiko rasiha lepa esha hari chandana swanghi dasi dostu me sambalavendra nandana. As Radha gathered flowers, Krishna touched her, and then he felt desire and jubilation as he saw her face adorned with loving ire. Hari becomes the sandal paste on Radha's heart whene'er they meet. May Nanda's son bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. Ashtakena yastvanena radhika suvallabham sangstaviti darshanepi sindhu jari durlabham tam yunakti tushta chitta esha gosha kanane radhikanga sangananditatma pada sevane. Exalted goddesses like Lakshmi Devi rarely ever see Shri Radha's lover Madhava. But if a humble devotee recites these verses, then Shri Radhika's enjoyer Shri Hari will pour the nectar of his service down on him eternally. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, very wonderful.
So I can send everyone this poetry file, and you can
Yes.
sing this every day, and then you'll get the blessing.
So Ballavendra is the name for Nanda Maharaj?
Balavendra, yes. The Ballavas are the coward men.
Oh,
He's the Indra of the coward men. So, what's next?
We can open up for the questions, comments, or
Questions or
discussion.
comments? Yes, please.
well, I had written a request in the chat a bit ago, though.
Oh, let me see. I didn't see the chat.
Oh, sorry, it was, but your barhapidam natavara vapu.
You want to see it? You want to hear that one?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's one verse, basically, right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. Embodying natavara vapu karnayo karnikaram bimran vasam kanakakapisham vaidiyantim chamalam Randran veno hadadasudaya puriyan gopa vrindaranyam swapadadamanam prabhisham gita kiti with a lovely pikakuma upon his head and fragrant flower placed upon each ear. He enters Braja's wood with graceful tread. A handsome dancing actor without peer. His golden yellow raiment brightly glows. His splendid garland reaches to his knees, and from his luscious lips the nectar flows, and fills his flute with charming melody. As Krishna thus begins his blissful day, with coward friends who sing his glories sweet, he beautifies Vrindavan's forest way with fine impressions of his lotus feet. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, is that what you wanted to hear, Rukmini? All right. How about
Yes,
just a
thank
few
you.
more minutes? The Indranila. This is the first Kunjve Hare Ashtaka, and this is especially suited to this beat. Hey Indranila Mani Mandala Vana Pullani Pukusamanchitakarna Krishna Labada Kishore Sihari Sundaro Jayati Kunja Bihari Jayati Kunja Bihari. His smooth complexion conquers sapphire stunning to the eye. Kadamba blooms with fragrance full on each ear gently lie. His beauty's great, and by his chest where Gunja necklace stays, all glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. Radhika Vadana Chanda Takora Sarva Ballava Madhuda Tachora Chachari Chaturitan Chatachari Charito Jayati Kunja Bihari Jayati Kunja Bihari. Takora longing for the moon of Radha's radiant face, a thief purloining patience from the cowherd's wives apace. His expert rhythmic dancing winning all the gopis' praise. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. Sarvatak Patilakaulakapava Dwangsanena Vritabasa Bhagar Goshta Rakshanakte Giridhari Leelaya Jayati Kunja Bihari Jayati Kunja Bihari. When Indra's sacrifice he stopped, he stole Deva's pride by playfully uplifting Giri Govardhan to hide his friends and cows beneath the hill for 7 nights and days. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. Ragamandala Bhushata Vamshi Vimramenda Mother Notes of Vashamsi Struyamana Charitak Shukashari Shrinibi Jayati Kunja Bihari. Sorry. Jayati Kunja Bihari. Heartwarming warbling melodies adorn his flute which sings of Cupid's fest. To him unending happiness it brings. The parrot pair his loving pastimes never tire to praise. All glories to the Lord, who in Vrindavan's forest played. Shatakumbha Dudhadu Dukula, Keke Chanda Gavirada the Chula, Nammeova Nala Sanvadanari Ranjano. Jayati Kunda Bihari, Jayati Kunda Bihari. His glistening silken garments steal aglow by gold possessed. His crown of perfect peacock plumes defeats all other crests. Vrindavan's radiant girls rejoice to see his loving ways. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. Stasaki Kutosukandi Patira, Swan Kanchi Padishoba Katira, Radiko Natabayo Daravari Kundaro, Jayat Kunda Bihari. Jayat Kunda Bihari, most fragrant sandal paste anoints his limbs so slightly blue. A splendid golden belt adorns his waist, he's likened to an elephant bound by the ropes of Radha's winning ways. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. Goldadata Tilako Jalabala, Kali Chantalita Champakamala, Andikanda Bagahesha Bisadi Sumbhuvam. Jayati Kunda Bihari, Jayati Kunda Bihari. His fulgent forehead glows with golden tilak he's applied. His playful pastimes swing his champa garland side to side. He meets the gorgeous gopis for their rendezvous in caves. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. Vimramotra Dadgantana Nritya Chitta Gopalal Nakal the Kucha Premamotta Vishabhanu Kumari Nagaro. Jayati Kunda Bihari, Jayati Kunda Bihari. Their work ignored, the coward's wives are nearly paralyzed when dancing glances strike them from the corners of his eyes. Ecstatic hero setting love mad Radha's heart ablaze. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. Ashtakam Madhukunda Bihari, Kridiya Patatiya Kilahari, Saprayati Vilasatparabhagam, Tasyapadakam Lachanaragam. The pastimes that the Lord enjoys in broadened sylvan bowers enhance this octave's beauty and pour forth pure nectar showers. Whoever hears these verses soon acquires saintly traits and serves his luscious lotus feet with love that ne'er abates. There you go. Kalindi Sundari is there, the children. Nice to see you. Lalita. Sorry, we had a little mix-up about the time, you heard? I can't. Yeah, unmute.
Yes, unfortunately. I apologize for not being on top of it.
But I have unlimited poems I can fill. So this is the Christmas spirit.
Devotees, any questions you want to ask? It's an opportunity. Please unmute yourself and you can ask a question or type your question in the chat.
Yeah.
I had a question, if it's okay.
Please.
Yeah. So you were talking about how we give the real gift, and then you said we explain the secret to the devotees, and then you said that everyone is potentially a devotee. But then there's that verse that's just prior to that, which says, this confidential knowledge, so this is 1867, this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me.
Right.
So could you elaborate on the meaning of that verse?
I think we could read the purport. If I recall, Prabhupada explains that but the devotees of the Lord are sometimes even more merciful than the Lord himself. And they approach everybody. They try to do, and we saw the model even with Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada. Invite everyone to come to Bhagavad Gita class, chant Hare Krishna. The whole idea is, and many people, I wasn't there at that time, but I understood that after the kirtan, many people would get up and leave. because they want to hear the lecture, stuff from the lecture. I don't know if they would then come back for the prasadam, but the idea was that, it's just like Johnny Appleseed. You ever hear the legend of Johnny Appleseed? I think it was a historical figure. He took sannyas. I think his wife died. He was all broken up, and he put on a pack of apple seeds and started just going around and planting them. And I think he was from Long Island or Boston or something. And he went to New York. Many of those seeds, did not fructify, did not germinate, but so many did. And northern New York State to this day is a source of a lot of the apples, at least on the East Coast. And so that's the mood of the Sankirtan devotee. They're going out, whoever wants to take it, please take it, but they don't get discouraged. And so, yes, it's not meant for those who are not austere and so forth. But in this age, the quality of the persons is so low that you won't find anybody really who's qualified practically. So we try anyway, and we hope Krishna will forgive us for violating that particular verse.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I wonder why did Krishna even say this? But anyway, but you're saying that there's self-selection, like people who are not qualified, they won't listen anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Krishna's coverage says the same thing. It says, I got to speak about this internal stuff. Most people don't understand it, but the good thing is that they won't understand it, and they won't listen to it. It won't be attractive to them. But all, the Untitled Leela, the whole book is so esoteric. But still, he felt he had to give it because it had to be known, so he gives it out. So that's the mood of the Lord Chaitanya's servants.
Isn't it similar also, Prabhu, in the Bhagavatam, when Asuddhama was being not asked to be killed, but Krishna says kill him. But what he really wants is, even though he says kill him, but he doesn't want him to be killed. The same in this verses, it's not for everybody. Still, the devotees go beyond that and do it. It's like, what is really in his heart. Krishna said, this is not for everybody, but still, what is his heart? He revealed that it is devotees, and devotees does what he wants, but what he says.
And also, there's a question of the different time. When Krishna was speaking the Bhagavad Gita, the Kali Yuga hadn't even started actually yet. But the same Krishna comes back as Lord Chaitanya, and it's everybody joining in the chanting. And Prabhupada makes the point that Krishna demanded that they surrender, and then he'll show the blessings. Then he'll relieve you of all of the sinful reactions. But Lord Chaitanya made no such demand. He said, Hare Krishna. Even people, so potent that they would just hear him and they would become lovers of God. And he was ready to give that out so freely. So there's a different move for different ages. And we're in an age when practically no one is qualified. So we need a special dispensation. And
also, Prabhu, we say to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. It's an offense. So that's considering that maybe Krishna is saying like that if they are not austere or devoted, you don't tell them because then they'll become more
details. That's also there. You can ask anyone to chant. Anyone should chant, but to go into details is like casting pearls before swine, and it's an offense. You lose. So we have to be careful of what we impart it to who. Lalita, you're on.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. It's just such an honor to have your darshans. Forget about basics and respect for the obeisances. All goes to Prabhupada. You may have heard this question 300,000 times by now. Being a very typical Kali Yuga soul with limited attraction to spiritual process and limited bandwidth to execute it. When we hear of these lofty devotees, and we also see them in your generation, how do we retain being a passionate, result-oriented, do-it-now person?
Well, I've seen some pretty lofty devotees in your generation too. There's a lot of advanced devotees who are way more advanced than me in the next generation. And the generation after that, we've got great-grand disciples of Prabhupada now. You know, it's a question of really taking stock, you know, being able to introspect and see one's state, and deciding. You know, really, the first decision is to seek out good association of devotees who can pull you forward, who can challenge you. You know, not even maybe directly with their own instructions, but their own example, so that you'll be in, you know, you feel the impetus to move ahead and move off a spot you may have been stuck on, you know, for some time. And so that decision to take the association and take it seriously is like a first step. I know my friend Rajendra Nandana, you probably heard he passed away kind of suddenly here. We didn't expect it, neither did he. But he was telling me about that for years. He would go to Mayapur every year for, I don't know if it was 20 years, but every year he would spend serious time in Mayapur. He was really a resident there as well as more than San Diego. San Diego was his base. He would do his job and he would go to Mayapur. And he searched out and he took shelter of Janani Vas, Prabhu there, and his brother, and he learned so much from them. And he really, and the parakrams, you know, and he became very advanced. His classes here were wonderful, amazing. They're on YouTube. They're all recorded, and they're so erudite and sincere, and really, you know, challenging us to become serious about advancing in Krishna consciousness. So we were very fortunate to have his association. But we need to always challenge ourselves and move forward, and search out ways in which we can deepen our understanding of Krishna consciousness and our bhajan, giving up things that we've been hanging on to and taking on things that we've been avoiding, you know, and moving ahead. It's not any you know, unique formula that anyone has. It's just a general principle that we have to imbibe, and so that we can. I mean, here I am. I just turned 74, so I you know, the notice is there. And even though I'm in pretty good shape, I had a serious ankle sprain, which has been almost 2 months. Yeah, you know about that, Lalita. Thanks for your advice. You know, you helped me. Tylenol, that's the way to go. But so, you know, it's just telling you how fragile this machine is, and time is going for all of us. So let's become more serious about our bhajan and about our preaching efforts, trying to give Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Prem Sindhu, you were in India. You got any revelations you ready to share from your trip there? You must have visited at least one dham, probably several.
I went to Vrindavan. It's there in Vrindavan.
Wonderful. Guess that says it all. Well,
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Usually when anybody appears, disappears in our previous acharya, we always talk about something about them, about that particular day. So today, like Christmas, so we always hear that Jesus is the Son of God, right? He always told that. So what else I have to tell my kids, you know, like he took everybody's sin, like this, we know. He's a Vaishnava, Prabhuji, he's a Vaishnava, because one time I hear that Jesus also went to Puri, Lord Jagannath temple.
Yeah, there is a what is that?
Aquarian Gospel.
What is it?
Aquarian Gospel.
Aquarian Gospel. Prabhupada read that, and he would share some of that. That Jesus, he was away. You know, I mean, even the Bible, there's like a gap. There's a certain number of years where he wasn't there, right? Then he came back, and And during that time, this Aquarian gospel is he went to India, and he, perfected yoga. I mean, walking on water, that's a standard yogic thing, lighter than the lightest, that type of thing, and so, there's some talk that he went to Puri or other places. And so, Prabhupada would always say that he gave what was they could accept where he was preaching. That's why he didn't give Krishna Bhakti as we know it. But the greatest commandment, I'm supposed to give tomorrow's Sunday lecture here, and I took as my subject is greatest commandment, which is love thy God with all thy heart and all thy strength and all thy mind, and love thy neighbor as thyself. It sounds like bhakti to me, but the whole question is, how can you love God if you don't have any information about his name, form, qualities, pastimes, and all of these things? So you can actually develop your natural love for him. That's been covered all these years. So, but that central principle is bhakti, obviously. So it's a mystery. There are various writings, some of them apocryphal, some of them, and I remember, this is interesting. I mean, to me, I wasn't at all raised even in a religious family. Christian, no, even the Jewish, we're particularly Jewish, but I was raised, as I like to share, many of you remember, as a communist. That was my faith, which was cruelly dashed over the years. But so I was, how am I going to get involved? So as time went on, and I was looking in, I was in the midst of the Lower East Side during the time when Prabhupada was there, hippies, and there was a lot of input from the East. So one of the books that was popular then, and which I read, was called The Way of a Pilgrim. You remember that one, Rukmini? You probably know about that one. It was set in Russia. It was set in Russia. And there was an Orthodox Christian there who was curious about this one line in the Bible about one should pray without ceasing, So he went to this priest, that priest, no one could help him, until he went to someone who was known, I think, as a starets, who was known to be advanced. He was like what we would call a guru, And he'd say, "Oh, you have it there." See? This was I didn't have any literature about Krishna at all. This is the first book, and it was this whole thing of this Jesus prayer. So they said you have to chant the Jesus prayer. Yes, it means you have to. Jesus, oh Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy upon me, a sinner. That's the way it was presented in the book. And so you go back home and you I don't know if you get beads, maybe a rosary, chant this for 3 hours a day for the week, and then tell me what. So he said, okay, I did it, for a week, and I got a cramp in my fingers and my voice. I lost my voice, and then what do I do? Okay, now you do it for 6 hours a day. So okay, So the point is, he surrendered to the guru, chanted for 6 hours a day. And after that, I forget the exact progression, but it came to the point, well, now, he came back and said, yeah, it's just going on constantly. I can't forget it. It's just, that's what it means. And then he took sannyas. Then he started wandering all over Russia, and he was preaching this. So that, when I was introduced to the idea of japa, I suddenly remembered, oh, this is, I remember, it reminded me of that. So it wasn't alien to me, and I easily took that up in my yoga practice. So the idea is that these teachings are there to some degree, but they're covered. They don't give you a practical way of really advancing until you come to Krishna consciousness. All the major religions have a seed in them, but there's been the problem is that unless you really are able to get attracted to Krishna, to God, in a meaningful way, then you can't be attracted away completely from material pleasures. And we've seen so much of this corruption in the church. This priest, that priest had relations with this, and people have lost faith. America, which has been religious for years, many people attending church. The church attendance is going way down now. The young people don't want to hear about it. I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. That's all. Which is great for us. Here's how you can take this book and really be spiritual. So That's
And another thing, Prabhu, I supposed to, I ask my husband always question after reading, but since you are here, so I can ask you. Morning we read second canto Bhagavatam, Prabhuji, one sloka, text one, the process of creation. One paragraph, like to become a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, two things are very much essential, namely having a chance to be born in the family of a devotee and having the blessing of a bona fide spiritual master. So my question is that, Prabhu, pure devotee, to not all born in pure family devotee, but they are very nice devotee. They're doing so much. So this is
all right. What verse is that?
This is the process of creation, second canto, chapter 4, text 1.
All right, this is 2, second canto.
4.
2, 4.
What's the last number?
1.
1, text 1.
241. And in that purport,
I'm going the last paragraph, just in the up sentence, 2 sentence.
Oh yeah.
To become a
pure devotee of Lord Krishna, two things are very much essential, namely having a chance to be born in the family of devotee and having the blessings of a bona fide spiritual master. Well, all I can say, being a longtime editor of Srila Prabhupada's books, that even though he says it's essential there, by his actions and by the result of this movement, we can see that it is essential to have the second one for sure, which is to have the blessings of a bona fide spiritual master. But to be born in the family of a devotee is not always possible. And we see, of course, Srila Prabhupada was, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was, the great acharyas are generally, that happens. But so many sincere devotees in this movement were not born in the family of devotees. But they did have the blessings of a spiritual master. So even though Prabhupada says it's essential, I think we could say it's very favorable, it's very favorable, but it's not absolutely essential, because you'll find, what about Prahlad? Was he born in a family of devotees? So, but he had the blessings of Narada Muni. That's the idea. So that has to be there, and it can counteract so many things. That and the power of Lord Chaitanya's preaching the holy name, he was able to uplift anyone. He made it very clear. Kirata Gunana Pulinda Pukasha. There's a whole verse in the Bhagavatam, in that second canto, I believe, describing how even outcasts, those who are far from the Vedic culture, what to be speak of born in the family of devotees, who, if they take shelter of one who's taken shelter of the Lord, it can become purified and become completely perfect. So that's encouraging to us, because I certainly wasn't born in a family of devotees. Many of you were very good. So it's Prabhupada's use of words, sometimes you have to see in context and quote other writings of his to take it and get the full meaning like that. But I admit it can be a little puzzling. Yeah.
Oh, another thing, I really request we send you the email. Also, thing is that your poem, everything we are save on the computer, but suddenly my Prabhu computer get dead, and then with devotee mercy like Jinis Prabhu, I got the poem. Whatever you send us, he also saved, but audio get missed. Could you send the audio so that he can pronunciation also he can hear? The way
the audio.
Audio.
Now, which poem is that?
Prabhuji, whatever rhyme you have, like Guru Astakam, then Kunja Vihari Astakam, so many things you give us. You can just send me that audio of all, Prabhuji.
Yeah, I have a file with the audio on it. Sure.
Yeah,
Awesome.
please, we send you again email. It's just sent to my Prabhuji email.
Okay, not a problem. Yeah.
Okay. And Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
You have a question too? Your mother asked all your questions. You don't have a special question? Ujjwala Nitai and Diptiman Das. You're initiated. I didn't know they were initiated. Nice to see you again. You look a little bigger and older than the last time I saw you.
Yes, 2 years you didn't give.
Couple of years. Hopefully we can start traveling again.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Okay.
is anything else? Anybody has any other questions?
Okay.
Not.
You said you had another poem about Radhika, and you showed us a glimpse of it, but then
Yeah, the
you didn't.
companion one to that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'll do, because time is kind of, I need to get going.
Oh.
I'll do one of the Sanskrit verses, and then I'll do all the English. It'll take a few minutes. Is that okay? Okay.
Wonderful.
I'm going to call it up on here so I can not, block the screen so much. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Rama. Okay. This is the companion piece. That was the Shuka singing. That was the one about Krishna. May Nanda's son bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. This is the Shari, the female. And you may recall, some of you maybe, that Bhakti Choswami made a wonderful recording of this. This is the Sanskrit years and years ago. I used to listen to it. Kunkamata kanchananja gava hari goraba pitananchitam jaganda kirti nindi sodaba ballavesha suna sava vanchitartha sadhika maya matma pada padma dasya dastu radhika. I'm going to put this on, but just without the, no, this is not, okay. We just have the, her gold complexion steals the pride of golden lotus tinged with red. Her fragrance mocks the scent of lotus bloom with saffron powder spread. Her skill and satisfying, Shri Hari is perfect and complete. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Her wondrous silken garments shame the splendor rubies can display. She is a blooming garden where the bee of Krishna loves to play. She worships Surya every day, so she and Madhava can meet. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Eclipsed by Radha's tenderness, the fame of budding blossoms dims. The moon a lotus sandal paste, and camphor serve her cooling limbs. When Krishna burns with love desires, her soothing touch dispels the heat. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Though youthful goddesses adored by all, adore the goddess Shri, she lacks Shri Radha's beauty, youth, and every other quality. So when it comes to lover sports, with Radha no one can compete. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Within the rasa dance, her singing and her joking are the best. She shines with countless traits divine, like love and gorgeous form and dress. Among the famous gopis of Vrindavan, she's supremely sweet. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Eternal pastimes, beauty, youth, and love for Krishna make her rich. The loving gopis tremble just to see her love at highest pitch. Her meditation on Sri Krishna's form and pastimes is complete. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Perspiring, trembling hairs unbend, and crying, faltering of the voice, impatience, joy, and guiley signs of rapture make her friends rejoice. For Krishna's eyes, these many gem-like ecstasies provide a treat. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Apart from Krishna for a moment, Radha feels anxiety and restlessness and other moods, the highest kind of ecstasy. But when she meets him with some effort, all her sufferings retreat. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Exalted goddesses like Parvati can hardly ever see Shri Krishna's lover Radhika, but if a humble devotee recites these verses, and Shri Radha, who enjoys with Shri Hari, will pour the nectar of her service down on him eternally. So there you have it. Now you've got them both.
Thank you so much.
Haribol, Ruth. Let's see,
Haribol.
that's Ujjwala Nitai Das and Deeptiman Das. Oh, that's your boys. Haribol. Okay. I think I better get going on my day.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank
We will
you.
end soon. 1:37 p.m. here.
Lalita,
To your lecture tomorrow.
I'm sorry?
How can we get to your lecture
Oh.
tomorrow?
I'll see. I can send you a link and you can give it out. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Hari Bol.
His servants.
His Grace, Dravida Prabhu Ki.
Jai.
Yeah. Okay, Prabhus, and then thank you very much. And we will meet tomorrow, Sunday feast at 11 o'clock through Zoom.
Hare Krishna.
Please join if you can. Hare Krishna.